G'day YouTube, warbles on a lot here. Just above the front gate of Martin's Lookout in Glen Innes. The front gate of Martin's Lookout is precisely as high as the front gate of my place. So here at the Standing Slivers, they're having a bit of a festival dedicated to the phenomenon of the Outlanders, or the Outlander. But I thought it would be interesting to have a bit of a look from here, 15 kilometres to the south of Bullock Mountain, where it looks as if young fella me lad may have started putting in his big backburn. This morning at 6 AM there was no smoke at all coming off the fireground. By 8 o'clock there was some smoke, but with white cloud behind it, it was kind of difficult to see. It's coming up to the crest of the hill. Yeah, it's pretty big. There was so much smoke going up there yesterday afternoon, I thought he might have put the backburn in yesterday. However, this looks like the thing. Certainly looks as if he's lit up the perimeter. He's got a fairly wide area of the horizon that the smoke's coming up from. Yeah, it's a pretty good sized fire he's got going. Again, from the front gate, it sort of looks from here. I'll try and get the iris to open up a bit. There's smoke going up there, all the way across. Just there is where the helicopter was firebombing yesterday. There's now smoke going up all the way along there, all the way along there, all the way along there. And then it sort of stops. So that, to me, looks like the eastern boundary of the area. It sort of looks like a 2 or 3 kilometre long front, as seen from here, 7 kilometres away. So if I can see a 2 or 3 kilometre front when looking west from my place, just pan through 90 degrees. We were looking at it from 15 kilometres to the south at the start of the video, and it sure seemed to have, if we were to pretend that this rock is sort of like Bullock Mountain, looked at from town we could see this edge of the fire. Looked at from here we can see this side of the fire, and it sort of looks as if young fella me lad got his crews in position and lit up about an hour ago. Just guessing, because I haven't talked to him since Thursday morning. He's been busy, I've been busy, and because he suggested that I may need to light a backburn if I know that I've got fire coming up this hill or coming at the camp from the other side, rather than use my old system for igniting fires, which involve putting drip torches, fuel into 2-litre Coke bottles and carrying a neck bag full of Coke bottles, plastic bottles, full of drip torch fuel, and having one bottle with a hole in the lid out onto a lump of cotton wool on the end of a wire handle, not cotton wool, steel wool, with the steel wool pre-soaked in drip torch fuel, so it'll hold the fire. And you pre-position your bottles and sort of lay out the fluid by squirting through the one plastic lid that has a nail hole in it and changing the lids from the empty bottle to the full. And I have to say that while this system does work, and it is kind of functional when you're lighting a small hazard reduction burn, if you're under pressure and you're trying to light a back burn, that kind of means you need to be able to light it with one hand and control the leaf blower with the other hand to blow your fire out against the fire you don't want to get cooked by. This is dangerous, you know, like hanging onto a greasy plastic bottle full of a mixture of sump oil and petrol. There's got to be something better. Therefore, I went to town today. I went into town. And I bought myself a proper, fair dinkum, brand spanking new, actual, purpose designed and manufactured dripping of the torch. And instead of a recommended retail price of $399, more than the bloody water pump, I got it for only $275. And because I don't feel like frigging around mixing drip torch fuel in the heat of the moment, I went and bought myself a 5 litre, $10.95 plastic jerry can and put 5 litres of kerosene into it. So that's actually in a storable condition. I'm not going to fill the drip torch until I actually want to use the drip torch, but we'll call that a $290 exercise. And we'll try not to think about the second 5 litre can filled with this one unleaded petrol, dedicated for the use of the water pump, because my pre-existing 5 litre can is full of 35:1 mixed concentration 2-stroke fuel, as preferred by my handheld 60-mile-an-hour wind advantage. Then you conduct a complicated sort of little dance where you lay out a line of fire, and then you go back and you put down a second line of fire parallel to the first line of fire, and the second line of fire gets sucked in by the first line of fire, drawing air into its flames, and then you use the leaf blower in your other hand to put out the near edge of the second line of fire. So what you wind out is a black edge on your side and a flame front on the other side, and it should be getting sucked in by the air being drawn in to fuel the flames of the fire that you're trying to avoid. And it's so much easier to use one of these with a leaf blower than it is to have a handful of plastic bottles full of drip torch fuel and try not to make a mistake. So I think I've now spent just over $2,000 in the last 2 months getting set up to have some sort of a chance to defend against a fire this summer, because we only just got the first month of spring under our belt. And now the helicopter is back at work. But I spent enough time sitting here at 40 powers magnification trying to pick that up yesterday. So unless the fire and the helicopter comes a whole lot closer to here, you'll just have to take my word that I can hear it. That sounds like a 2-bladed rotor slap of a Huey rather than a 4-bladed Bell 412. But I could be wrong. I've been known to be wrong before. But I think That great big area of fire indicates that the backburn's going in. And I can just see a helicopter with the naked eye flying over the top of that little lump in the distance, impinging on the edge of the column of smoke, flying into the smoke and getting very difficult to see now. Okay, so that's my news. I now have a bona fide drip torch, what they call in the trade a firebug. And of course, ideally, all this preparation will be for nothing, and the simple fact that I bought all this stuff and got ready for it means that the fire will go somewhere else and become an SEP, a somebody else's problem. And in the meantime, Warbles has a new toy, so it must be time to read the instructions, all 8 pages of them. Operate torch correctly, bracket, aim wand 25 to 45 degrees forward of 90 degrees in the direction you are walking. Do not drag the torch behind you. This can be extremely dangerous. Happily, I have used these things before as a basic firefighter with the New South Wales RFS. So theoretically I know what I'm doing. And I must like it because I'm doing it anyway. Warbles on a lot to YouTube. Ciao.